Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Big Money Stylist podcast. I'm here with Ani, my host.
Hello.
And business wife. No, what do we say?
Business wives, yes.
Business wives, yeah, pretty much. So
I always say my business wife / partner in crime.
yes, it's true. It's true. And you know what? I feel like this next little bit, we're going to even get more and more close. Although we are at least 3 to 4 feet apart right now.
And we only live 2 stoplights away from each other.
It's true. And this podcast studio is always empty. So basically, we still are social distancing.
Look, I've been practicing social distancing my whole life. This is a dream for me.
I've been practicing. I'm very good at social distancing and isolation. No.
You know, I was literally thinking this morning, I'm like, man, because I brush my hair when it's wet a lot, which obviously grows your extensions out a little bit faster. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do? And I'm like, I know Danielle one day is going to call me and be like, so. And then my response is going to be, so.
Basically, I took home a lot of toner. And I figured Ani lives 2 lights away, and I'm going to make her wear a mask and do my hair.
And I figure, you know what? Same. Which, do you realize you've never done my hair?
I know. You're really missing out. You're trying to tell me about my bead tension. I'm like, you haven't even had me do your hair. So, whatever.
It's to the point where I think I make Danielle nervous because even when she does models, I come by, I just like to feel how it is when you do
she literally like stands over your shoulder like a creepy person where like it's my system and my business, and I'm like, is this wrong? Did I mess that up? Why are you looking at me like that?
And I'm literally just trying to feel how it is when you do it.
Yeah, but you have this like resting bitch face that looks like you're
I'm concentrating.
Concentrating or like
it's my focus face.
I'm like, yeah.
Danielle literally put a hand up and go, don't look at my beads.
I always tell people, I'm like, Ani like puts people on edge on like a good way. Like I'm like, oh.
And then I just walk away and I'm like, I was literally just looking. Why are you so nervous? But you know what? I always remember, this is how I know that I've like grown in these past 4 years, was I will never forget my second BMS class. This was November of 2016.
And I was standing over your shoulder?
Yes. We were doing one of the students' hair, and I like hold my hand slightly different from you doing beadwork, but the outcome is the same. And you're like, okay, let me see you do a few beads. And I was like, my hands were literally shaking. I'm like, I'm going to get in trouble. What if the bee is bad? I'm going to get fired. I haven't even been hired. Oh my God. I've never been more stressed in that moment. And I always think back to that when I'm watching students.
I know.
And they're like sweating, or they go, I swear I had it before you walked over.
It's funny. I'll notice that when I'm teaching, and I'll have to be like, I'm just going to give you your space, but yet I want to help you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, it's funny. It's craziness. But so like
Speaking of craziness,
week, last week was crazy because I felt like the world took a turn overnight. Like honestly, like last Friday, we do our podcast on the weekend and then they publish on Tuesday. And last week we were kind of like, oh, coronavirus, everyone's freaking out, like whatever. And then literally right after we did our podcast, I look at Ani and I was like, I think I'm going to go to the grocery store. Like,
and I was like, you're going? I'm going.
And literally I stocked up on so much groceries before I think it got really, really crazy. And then it just kept getting like tighter and tighter and tighter. And then it was funny because I messaged my teams on, was it like Sunday? And I was like, you guys, we have 2 days. We have about 72 hours to like, everybody needs
before we get shut down.
Before we get shut down. And everyone's like, really? And I'm like, I'm just calling it. By Wednesday, we shut down.
We're done.
So it's just like crazy. Like I was just even thinking like last weekend my mom flew in to have like hang out with me and my kids.
Yes.
And like we went to South Coast Plaza and like went shopping, and it was like it just slowly like the world took a turn.
I don't even think slowly. I think literally overnight.
Yeah, not slowly.
It was like, that's it.
Yeah.
And then it's even being in California. So in case you don't know, we're located in Southern California. We're in Orange County, and California has like the strictest rules in place of all 50 states because we have so many people here. Yeah. There's so many fucking people in California, especially LA County. Right. You know, they brought in the National Guard to LA.
Really?
To literally distribute food inside of food shelters to make sure that people were like protected. So it's definitely getting insane. But you know, it's so funny because before every podcast we sit here and we're like, okay, what do we talk about? And we're like, fuck, we don't want to be negative Nancy's. Danielle's like, maybe let's not talk about coronavirus. I'm like, we have to because
it's especially with salons. Like as I'm scrolling through social media and it's like salon after salon. Closed. And it just like hurts my heart because like I'm a small business owner myself. I mean, yes, we have our education company and all that, but still I have a salon. I'm a business owner just like the rest of us. And it just is like, there's this like sense of like, oh shit, you know what I mean? And I think like more than anything, like me and Ani have tried to be there for basically our students. We have about how many do we have in there?
Almost 300.
Almost. I always forget. I know it's close
She's
to
like, we have like
300.
55. I'm like,
no,
300.
We have 300 students, and everybody I think is like in this panic. And I'm like, looked at Ani. I'm like, we need to be like the voice of reason right now. Like, we need to like be productive with our time. We need to like coach our students. Like, yes, it's scary, but it will pass. And I look at artists because they always say, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. Like, that's something we hear a lot.
That's all anybody says.
And now I'm like, well, why don't we use this time to really like soak in like the education that we need, practicing our craft. Like, there's so many things that you can learn. Like, time is kind of a blessing. And yeah, you still have to pay your bills, but I don't think this is going to go on for, I mean, I would hope not more than like 2-3 weeks, but you never know.
Well, and I do know some of our artists, it is a 4-week, like a month-long span of time. But here's the thing that we were even telling our students. So we are actually going live with our students every single day for the next 30 days. We're doing a training literally every single day at 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time just to go through and not only like, hey, here are the things you can do while you're not behind the chair to still make money, but also just touching base because it is hot in here.
I know. I was like, I'm warm.
Because this is like a very emotional time for everybody. And I was talking to a friend of mine who actually lives on the East Coast, and I'm like, can you imagine you're used to making $10, $20, $30,000 a month, and all of a sudden you're at zero.
Right.
Zero. It's terrifying. It doesn't matter how much money you've made before. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Like, that's just a scary thought.
Right.
But just like you said, I've even found myself where I literally posted about this on Instagram last night. I'm like, I've said so many times, like, I wish I could just hit pause on the world. Like, I wish I could just pause everything.
We paused.
And guess what?
Yeah.
And now I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh shit. Well, the world is pausing. Yeah. Everybody's pausing. Like, this is actually happening now. So don't sit at home in your PJs.
Right.
Look, I get it.
But also don't go out with your friends and I've been so irritated lately because I live on a beach and I literally, there's like all these like college kids just like hanging out in big groups, and I'm like listening to them talk casually as I'm walking by, and they're like, so whose house are we going to? Like, I'm like, cool. We're all just like, who are your parents? Like, why are you, like, literally, that's
Danielle,
like
they're 25.
I know. They're not. Some of them are, some of them are 25. But I'm like, literally, Kate, I'm sorry. This isn't like a big spring break. So there's like one end of the spectrum where you have people that are just like, yeah, where's the next party? This
Fuck
great.
it.
Yeah,
Whatever.
woo.
No.
And then you have the other end of the spectrum where people are like, oh my God, I'm not going out. I'm getting, like, they're literally going crazy and like panicking.
And
so
I will say, even like, the first day, I totally did not get out of my PJs all day long. And it's fine. I still got stuff done, but I felt by the end of the day gross. And no, not gross because I was still in my PJs, but almost gross because even though I knew I was productive, I didn't really feel like it because honestly, I didn't even shower. I didn't shower. Look, anyone listening cannot tell me there's never been a day where you like skipped a shower in the morning. Like, fuck you guys. If you're sitting here and you're going to message me and tell me I'm gross, you're gross. You're
I work
a liar.
out, so I have to shower. Like, it would be gross.
There's been a day where you skipped a shower.
No, I've never skipped a shower. Actually,
I don't believe you.
Okay,
Lies.
I don't think I have. Because I work out like 6 days a week. It would be gross.
Then you've had super late showers because you come in and been like, I haven't showered yet.
Okay.
I'm sweaty. True. I'm like,
I mean, if I shower by 5 p.m., it still counts as a shower, Ani.
No, I won't lie. I straight up skipped my shower. I was in my PJs all day long. Like, it happens. But then by day 2, I'm like, okay, you cannot make this a fucking habit. Right. Given I still did work and I was productive. But now I'm like, I'm back to my normal, like, it's my daily routine.
Right.
I'm getting up at 5 o'clock. I'm taking my dog on a walk by 5:30. Today, I jumped in the shower by 6:30, shampooed, blow dried my hair, used the new product. It was real nice. I really liked it. Silverati, yes. I'm obsessed with Silverati right now. And then, like, I made sure, like, I'm keeping my routine, checking in with my students because I don't want this to be a time where I'm just a fucking bum.
I've had moments this week where I'm like, I'm going crazy. And I'm like trying to look for projects that I can do. I've already cleaned out my closet. I've already like rewritten like a whole email series. I've already like filmed it. Like we filmed the whole speaking of, we filmed a brand new MBR education course.
Before we got shut down, let that be known.
Yes, before we got shut down, I looked at Ani. I said, this could be our last day open. I've really been wanting to shoot an online course because I used to have it forever ago, and then I got rid of it just because, I don't know, we kind of went a different direction with the education. But now I'm going to open it back up for the first time to public. So if you are at home and you want to learn more, I am going to be having that opening up pretty soon. But I just think that the thing is like you said, like we want the world to pause, but now we're like, oh my God, we have all this time and we're panicking. Like,
that doesn't mean you pause.
Yeah.
And that's what we've even been telling our students, like, okay, what can you do? What can you adjust? What can you course correct? Because even, for example, like all of our students, they're going to be looking into hiring assistants or even like the general systems and processes inside of your salon. This is a great time. Even if you're like, I'm going to spend the next 2 days working on my assistant program, and you go through and you rewrite it, and not like re-gut it, but redo the whole thing beginning to end to give you the outcome that you're truly looking for.
Right.
I mean, you're in your house anyway.
I literally was I was logging on my ClickFunnels account and I was like thinking about, I mean, in the beginning when I started my brand, I didn't have any money and I didn't really have any, did you know I did trade with somebody to like build a logo and a blog, and like it was weird. But anyways, I had to like very much teach myself a lot of stuff, and I built like I ended up kind of like building my own blog a lot and like doing all this stuff. And I was on ClickFunnels yesterday and I was like, ooh, I'm back here. I'm going back. I'm going to learn it. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to build it out.
And it's literally like a holy shit.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to work these. I'm going to figure out this template. I'm going back. And so.
But you know what I think is really cool about that? Because yes, do we have a team that can do our ClickFunnels for us? Yes. But there's also things where I like to be in the know.
Yes, I've always wanted to know, because sometimes like you can hire somebody to do it and then you're like waiting on them. And I'm like, if it's like a quick fix, I want to know how to do it. And not only that, like if you understand how to build out your website, if you understand, like we use funnels, if you understand those better, then whoever you hire out, you can better communicate to them exactly what you want.
Well, that's why even with us having redone the entire NBR course, and I feel like I need to put an asterisk on this because we're going to get so many emails about this. So let's talk about it for 10 seconds. Yes, the NBR online only training course will be available, not right now, within the next month at the latest. We will not be releasing this for a full amount of time. It's not going to be anybody, any point, anytime. There will be limited amounts available to the public. Let that be known. If you're sitting there and you're like, God, but what I really want is to join the academy, you would still have to attend a class live in person because it is just a very, very different experience. This is just
kind of to get your foot in the door. Like if you've seen MBR and you're like, I don't know, or maybe you can, obviously nobody can travel right now, but this would just be like the introductory of like the learning MBR. So if you've kind of been like, I actually get quite a few people that say, do you have an online course? And I'm like, I did. But so this is the first time where, like we said, we're only going to be releasing so many units. But for those of you that are interested, stay tuned. That'll probably be coming out in the next 3-4 weeks. So
yeah, I know. We're so excited about it. And let me tell you, man, we really finished filming that in the nick of time.
I know.
The last day the salon was open is when we finished.
It was one of those projects that I had been wanting to do since January. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, we're doing this. I'm like, I don't care. I don't know if the salon's going to shut down. Like, what's going on? I want to film. I felt like prompted that I need to get this done. So we did it, and woo! So you guys
Hallelujah.
You guys need to be productive with your time. I think just having a community of stylists that I love having our group because it's scary right now. And
yes,
it's cool because we've even had tons of ideas and tons of people sharing ways to make more income, like selling products, things like that, shipping them to your clients. And I just think don't isolate yourself. That's the last thing you want to do. Find your group of artists that you can really kind of associate with and grow with and not get in a funk.
And especially when they're so like-minded, because I know we've said it before, but that's really why even BMS came to be what it is, which eventually evolved into the Academy is. I was actually talking to a student today. It was someone who was in our class just a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And she was like, hey, I just finished watching the live that you and Danielle did yesterday, and I can't stop crying. She's like, yeah. Oh, wow. She's like, I have felt alone. I haven't liked the salon I'm in, this and that, da-da-da. I've been so stressed out. She's like, and she goes, I can't express how grateful I am to be in a tribe of people who not only understand, but they actually care about us and love us and want us to succeed, even though
what's going on
with everything happening. And right. I read that and I'm like, it hit me right in the heart. I'm like, this is why we do what we do. And I told her, I said, look, I've been where you're at. Not only not making money, because it was not that recently for me that I had no money. It was only a few years ago. It's not been a long time. And I go, and not only that, I have felt so alone. Mm-hmm. And Danielle knows what it feels like to be so alone. And one of the reasons this is so important to us and we are so ridiculously protective of everything we've built is because I told her, I said, we never want you to feel the way that we did. We never want you to feel alone, unsupported, like you're fucking lost, you don't even know what to do and you can't go to anybody.
Right. I feel like in the very beginning when I was building everything, I felt alone all the time. And not only did I feel alone, I almost felt a little bit persecuted. Like I was trying to like share this tool of MBR, but because I didn't have team members to help me, I didn't have the systems and processes that I had now. It was just like, hey, I'm going to teach you this, and then like hopefully you figure it out. But I would have people like DM me and email me, and I'm like, I just don't have enough time to give you like one-on-one consulting. Like I don't.
Yeah.
And that's really how the whole academy got birthed, and my mastermind from last year was birthed, is because students needed more help. And I, in the beginning, just felt so alone and isolated, and even like building it up to where it is now. Like I was telling everybody on the live, I'm like, I'm so honored to like be the voice of our group, but it's not about Danielle. It's not about Ani. It's about us. And that's what is just so cool. Like I love our little tribe. You know what I mean? I'm like, you guys, I told them yesterday on the live, I said, students of MBR, we're going to stand, if anything happens with all this going on, we're going to stand out above the rest. Like, I just know we will. I can, like, I feel it. I know we're going to be giving them tips along the way. We're going to be like, we're going to make a difference in our industry. Like, I already know we will.
Absolutely. And it's so crazy. I was reading, we have a private network that we use for all of our students. And one girl messaged, she's like, guys, I actually live in Japan. I work on by the way, our students are in Japan already. She's in the academy. She's like, I'm in Japan. I work on a military base. I'm for my husband, She goes, I always order everything from Hawaii. They shut it down. She's like, she goes, I know this is weird, and I know you guys don't really know me that well. She's like, but could I maybe order products to one of you and you just reship it to me and I'll pay whatever fee?
Oh, wow.
So many people started commenting going, yeah, girl, I got you. This is open for me. Here are the brands I can get you. Someone else was like, I can get you those. And then these. And it was literally comment after comment after comment, basically being like, I got you. Here's the brands I have access to. What do you need? And I'm sitting there. It was probably 8:00 this morning reading that. And I'm like, this is so fucking cool.
If we all work together, though, like that, like we will be literally like a force to be reckoned with. Not reckoned with, but just like it's like so cool. Like, where else do you see that community? Like, you don't have that community on Instagram. Like, you just don't. Like, it's so interesting to me. And I know you and I were talking about this the other day, but I was like, I don't comment a lot on people's social media in general.
Yeah, me either.
Because like I said, it's not about me patting you on the back and engaging with you. I want you to have results. And I busted my ass the last like 10 years to have the support, to have the systems, to have the education. Like, I'm not just going to do a one-time class and then just give you hearts on Instagram. Like, I've already done that. Like, in the beginning of my career, when I would teach a class and I'd watch somebody like learning the system, and I'd be like, oh, looks really good. I would literally, and then I like would walk away and be like, well, they're fucked. Like, because I was like, I mean, I didn't even know how to help them. I was like, this is a 1-day class. And that's how you're putting on your beads. Like, I was like, there's not enough time. Like, so I just was like, oh, you're doing great. And then I got to this place where I'm like, that doesn't help people. That's not productive. That doesn't work. And so I really like leveled up the whole education, because I was like, and I always tell my students, I'm like, I'm not going to give you hearts and emojis. Like, it's not like I'm trying to be rude. My focus is somewhere else. My focus is on delivering better education and building a community for you guys. So I don't know why I jumped into that, but I was just
because that is important. I feel that the community that we have, yes, it's on social media. Yes, we like pump each other up and hype each other up. And even now, like, some of our trainers and artists are coming together and they're like, okay, Monday, I'm going to do a live about this. Tuesday, you do a live about this. Wednesday, you do a live about this. And now they're jumping back and forth and all cross-promoting.
Oh, cool.
And it's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I'm literally almost like sitting in the background watching this happen, just thinking, this is it.
Right.
This is why we do what we do. This is why we have gone to war to protect everything that we have, because these artists, even in a time where it's fucking terrifying, like there's no other way to say it, they're thriving and they're literally like linking arms and coming together and sharing ideas and sharing products, like all these things. And I see that and I'm like, this is the coolest thing that I've never seen in this industry before.
Yeah. I've never seen it. I mean, like I said, you'll see support here and there on Instagram, but it's not as in depth. Like these, it's almost like when you remember going to hair school and like you start with your little group.
In your little phase.
You have like 30 girls or whatever, and you're like, I don't know about you, but I felt like I was like really tight with those girls going through beauty school. And now I feel like we have 300 artists that are just like super tight together. And it's really cool to see. So you guys hang in there. I feel like I don't think it's going to be as long as we're anticipating, but it will probably be like a rocky month, which is going to affect everybody.
But then I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, all I've ever asked for, and I'll be the first to admit, I'm criminal number one in this. I wish I could just hit pause. I wish everything could just stop. I wish. And now I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, all right. I got exactly what I asked for. Not exactly in the way I had initially anticipated it would happen. That's for sure. But I'm making the best of it. And I'll say, so like I said, I'm still, and what I want you guys to do is look at your schedule. Like, what are you actually doing? Because my schedule hasn't really changed much. And I like to get up early, start work early, and then finish at a pretty reasonable time in the evening.
I was just thinking, like, you and I, we still work behind the chair, but we're only there one day a week. So I was like thinking, I'm like, our schedules can still kind of carry on pretty similar. I mean, other than I'm trying to be a homeschool mom right now, which is interesting. But my daughter was already in homeschool. So for me, it's just I already had one baby at home. I had an older daughter in homeschool. So now my second daughter's homeschooling. So for me, I'm like, it's not like I can still do a lot of things that I was already doing. I just, obviously, we can't go into the salon, but I can still work on a ton of other things. Oh, here's what I was going to say. So it was so crazy because I forever knew there was areas in my business that I wanted to be more involved in, that I wanted to work in, and I couldn't let go of like working behind the chair. Like I loved the art. I loved, the people. I felt very accomplished, like being a good artist and like stepping back and being like, damn, that's good. Like I'm a great artist. That's good. And I took a lot of pride in my art, and I couldn't, even when my education was growing a few years back, you couldn't pull me away from the chair. I was like, no, I got to do hair. You know what I mean? And it was so funny because when I was pregnant and then I had to like cut back my hours because I had like some health issues. And then even after having the baby and I cut back even more, I was like, holy shit. I like saw so much more. I had so much time and space that was created, and I was home because I had a newborn. And all of a sudden I was like, there's so many little things inside of my business that I could be working on. And now, like, my baby's 8 months old, and I feel like I'm, like, stronger than ever. And it's because I didn't just say, oh, I had a baby, I'm taking a maternity leave. I just shifted my focus somewhere else. And I think that oftentimes we love the art so much, and we just think that's like our story, that we have to be being behind the chair in order to create an income. But like, imagine if you created a whole new business plan. Like you really dove into what is working in your business and what is not working in your business. And you literally like, holy shit, I've got some changes to make. Here are the facts of what's going on with my business. Okay, I need to learn to do X, Y, and Z. Like there's so many things you can do. And like I said, like 8 months down the road, I'm like, holy shit. And now I'm having a hard, I mean, obviously my salon's closed, but now I'm having a hard time. My staff was asking me like, when are you going to come back to work? I'm like, yeah, because I've just been I've been doing hair, but just for education videos, and I haven't actually been taking clients. And they're like, you're not coming back, are you? And I was like, I want to keep my hands in hair because I have to keep my hands in hair to educate. But I'm like, but I'm feeling like my calling is different right now.
And that's how I have been that way for years. Like I always knew like this is the position I wanted to be in. And that's why I've only ever been in the salon one day a week, especially because the education requires it's so heavy. Like there's so much to do. Even one of our trainers, he owns a 25 chair salon, the biggest salon in all of NBR. Him and two of the other trainers were in town to actually be trained inside of everything BMS. And finally, not that he was like, what do you do? But I was like, let me show you what happens, the things that you guys don't see. And I started showing him, this is how we do da 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 da. And he looks at me and he goes, I didn't know you did that much. And he's like, and they all looked at me and they go, now we understand why some days you're like, hey, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, da da da, come back to me tonight, tell me about da da da. And they go, you literally don't have time. I'm like, no, I don't. Yeah. Like, that's what it is. But now I'm like, cool. Now there's time to literally like hit the brakes. And I'm looking at everything like, what, if I get this done?
I know you're always asking me like, do I have to work one day behind the chair? I'm like, yes, Ani, you do have
to. I'm like, okay, my one client. Just kidding, two sometimes three. But what I want you guys to do is really take a look at what could benefit your business now. If you're one of those artists, and you're already sweating because you know I'm coming at you, that you never look at your numbers, I'm going to have you take a serious couple days to go through and what clients are you serving? What services do you have? What is it costing you to do? Are you making any money? One of our trainers, Amanda, used to do haircuts. It was like cuts, and she was charging like $45. And she told her husband, she's like, I made like $45 an hour today. He's like, no, you didn't. After you take out she was making $5 an hour. I'm like, Amanda, you could have worked at McDonald's and made more money. Yeah. And she's like, that like crushed her to hear.
Amanda, our trainer?
Our Amanda. Yeah, Amanda.
Was this a while ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Before, I was like, not recently, right?
No, now she's making $85,000 a month alone, and she loves it. I even told her, I'm like, you have to cut back time. And she's like, yeah, I don't want to. Because she does work 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And she's like, Ani, I have 3 kids. They're all in school. If I'm home during the day, I'm just sitting there alone. I like working. I like being with my clients. I like training my girls. I'm not going to cut back. I said, that I can respect. I said, but I will say this. When we need
But she was working till 8 p.m. and we talked talked her into like being done at 5.
Now she's done. I believe it's like 4 or 5, and she's home when her kids get home.
Right.
That's a different life to me.
You know what? And that is so sneaky because I remember thinking the same thing. Like I would take clients and take clients and take clients, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm working. There was like at one point I was like, but I'm only working 3 days a week, but I was working from like 7 to 7. And then I was like, that sucks. And that's when I went down to doing them every 2 hours because I was like, if I can do them every 2 hours and I hire help, that's actually like what pushed me to, I normally work with 2 assistants because I realized I'm like, I can save 3 hours in my day. And I was like, so I get to leave at like 4 instead of like 7.
Yep.
I'm like, so that was like such a big game changer for me. I was like, okay. And it's so crazy because I think artists, we constantly, if we have a space on our gaps, it's like makes us panicky. Or we're like, we're already there. We might as well take another client. And before we know it, we're like drowning because we're like, okay, I was going to work till 5, but then she wanted to get in. And I didn't know where to put her. And you really have to hold yourself to like, no, I'm done at 5. Like it's closed because we run our own books. We're constantly like,
well, I could.
Well, I'm there.
All right.
And that's why we run out of time because we tell ourselves, oh, I'm just going to work, Monday through Friday or Tuesday through Saturday. And I'm going to be done at 5. And then we're done at like 8 p.m. every night. And those moms that have kids and they're like, how did I do this? Well, I'm already there and I have to. And it's like a big story in your mind. And you really have to like what am I trying to say? You have to not hold yourself to a standard, but you have to like.
You have to put down boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries. That's what it is. You have to make boundaries for yourself. So I would encourage you guys, if you're that person that's literally working till like 8 or 9 at night, now this is a good time. Look at your numbers. Do you have an assistant? Little things like that you can completely shift. And I know we're running out of time, but the last thing, I can't remember. I think I've shared this story before, but I remember I was like, Garrett's like, why are you working Saturdays anymore? And I was like, or why are you working Saturdays still? And I was like, I have to. I'm already booked out for like the next 3 months. And I'm like, and this girl's flying in and da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, cancel them all. I'm like, I can't cancel them all. He's all, why? I'm like,
because I can't.
Because I can't. I don't have anywhere else to put them on my books. And he was like, well, he's like, then that's your story. And I remember I literally was like bawling because I think like my kids were like going to the park or doing something. And I was like a Saturday and I wanted to be there. And I'm like, oh, and I went to work that day and I did all those clients. And then literally the next day I was like, I'm done. I rescheduled all of my clients and I just said like, sorry, like here's the spots I have to get you in. If it works, great. Like I had to set boundaries and I did it like overnight. I was like this.
Well,
sorry.
I did it because you did it. There was one day where, because I was working Saturdays and I think it was you're like, why don't you just cancel them? And I was like,
it's like somebody needs to give you permission.
But I literally sat there because there was no reason. Like the only reason was I felt like I couldn't, but you're like, do it. I did it. And I'm like, you did it? You're like, yeah, I just called him. I'm like, hey, I'm not doing Saturdays anymore. Here's what you can have. And I was like,
well, and in doing that, I also had to, that same time, I'm like, I had some colors on my books. And so to make room, I just was like, hi, I'm not doing colors anymore, but I can refer you to somebody who is. I'm just doing, and so that I just kind of had to like make it work. You know what I mean? But I set boundaries for myself. So that's like something you guys could do in this time where you're like, things are like on a pause. Don't panic. Really look into how can I create like the hours I want? How can I create the schedule I want? How can I create the clientele I want? There's so many little things, and it's scary to look at those things. I think that like
terrifying.
I think people like want to like put their head in the sand and they don't want to look at those, and they'd rather. It's crazy to me, but they'd rather work like 70 hours a week than actually just look at things. Just look at the facts of where you're at. Like it's like they don't want to admit defeat or failure, or I don't know what it is, but we don't want to look. I don't know why. And then you do, and you're like, okay,
fuck.
Okay. And maybe you're like, it's not that bad. Okay. Or you're like, oh, fuck. Okay.
That was worse than I thought.
It's worse than I thought. But this is the time to make those adjustments and come out of this whole situation like stronger.
So guys, thank you so much for being here with us. You know, whether you're going on your walk, whether you're at home, if you want to see what we look like and see our mannerisms and all our craziness, you can go to dkwstyling.com. We upload the video and we have everything written out as well. And I always want to tell people, if there's a topic you want to hear us talk about, shoot me, like DM me on Instagram and let me know, because we're always open to that. I know I feel like sometimes our artists are like, talk about this or this or this or whatever.
Or you can email me. I don't see all my DMs. I don't go through them all. So if you do DM me, sorry if I didn't see it. But I always tell them, like, just email me. I guess I'm like old school like that.
Oh, see? Don't email me. DM me. I fucking hate emails. So I guess it's whatever your mode is, you can either DM me or email Danielle.
Email me, so.
But don't do it vice versa. So guys, thank you. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Social distancing, 6 feet. And remember, it's not as bad as it seems. Just keep positive and keep productive.